Hi guys, welcome back to another painting tutorial where today I'll take you through how to paint Majestic style Fenrisian wolves. Now before you click away, if you're someone who doesn't use an airbrush, don't worry, I'm only using the airbrush to base coat and everything else after that is all going to be brush work. But starting off, I'm just base coating down some dark turquoise by ACRYL. But if you are, again, just applying this by brush, just do a couple of thin coats, see how it's looking. If you need to apply a third, just go ahead and apply a third. And next up, I'm just going to use an even mix of KROXIGOR scales contrast medium, and some water. And just using a large nylon brush, just to get a nice even coat, and just to ensure that I'm moving the contrast paint around quickly enough so it doesn't create any patchiness. And I'll just be doing the one coat of this as well and just allow a reasonable amount of time to dry before moving on. So I was looking at some different art online of wolf art, and I did find some really cool sort of ideas, and one of them being a really sort of deep magenta sort of base tone, and then working up to some really vibrant pink tones as well. So certainly outside of the norm for what you'd expect for Fenrisian wolves, but as I often say, you know, at the end of the day it is fantasy, so you can really do anything you want with colour schemes and get away with it, or I suppose justify it as just being creative really. But anyway, so as you can see, I'm just applying the dark magenta, so this will just be on one side of the face, one of the paws, and just on the tail as well. But if you want to, you know, add it throughout the rest of the details on the fur as well, you can certainly do that. But yeah, I really wanted the turquoise to be the detail that sort of popped the most, and then just having a really cool sort of pinkish finish as well. As you can see though, the first coat does look a little bit strange, but don't worry, just allow a little bit of time to dry and then just apply a second coat as well, and it'll start to cover more of that turquoise. So next up, just to begin highlighting all of the pink, I decided to use some Screamer pink. Now, as you can see, the finish is quite different to the dark magenta. Just to mention as well, the dark magenta does have a slightly glossy finish. So to counter this, when you actually finish painting the model, or if you're someone like me, at least these days, who varnishes sort of as they go, yeah, you'll find if you use a matte varnish, it'll take away all of that shine and help even it out across the entire miniature. Just to mention as well, I'm now using my Raphael 8404 size 1 brush, I should say. I'm so used to saying 30 brush. It is a brush that I've most commonly used in a lot of my tutorials over the past, I'd say about a year or so. But it was actually after, so I follow quite a few different painters. One in particular lately that's really been standing out to me in terms of inspiration. I mean, I get a ton of inspiration from many different artists. But Flame on Miniatures, and he actually, to my knowledge, I believe I saw him comment that in reply to someone else as to what brush he uses. So I think he just uses the Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 2 brush. So I did already own some of these size 1 brushes, and I thought I'd just, you know, step it up and just try a different brush. And I've got to say, it is actually a lot easier to work with, and I will continue using the 30 brushes, but I might just keep them for, you know, really small details like eyes, for example, things like that. But anyway, as you can see now, I'm moving on to some Screamer Pink mixed in with Emperor's Children. Now you can of course just use Pink Horror, however I wanted to, you'll find that the difference between Pink Horror and the Screamer Pink Emperor's Children mix is a little bit different. And again, I really wanted to sort of stick with that more intense sort of vibrant sort of magenta through to a vibrant pink. But as you can see, just to mention as well, I'm sure you've already noticed, just using my wet palette, and also happy to be blending these colors in a little bit, just ensuring that we do leave plenty of those magenta shadows though. And next up, I'm just going to use some Emperor's Children on its own. As you can see though, you might have noticed as well, I haven't actually washed out the paint on my brush. Again, just happy to blend this, and at the end of a sort of a short session of blending like this, I just use the Master's brush cleaner, as I've mentioned in quite a few tutorials. So just rinse it in water, ensure that it's wet a little bit, and then just in a circular motion, just work the brush through the Master's brush cleaner, and then just remove the excess of it on some paper towel, and then just rinse it again, and then just dry it off slightly again on some paper towel, and then you can just continue on painting. But yeah, I can't stress enough, if you are buying expensive brushes, you know, Kolinsky sable brushes, they're certainly not cheap, and you really want to make sure that you get you know, as much life out of them as possible. So yeah, really recommend picking up some of that Master's brush cleaner. It's phenomenal. It's really quite cheap. I mean, certainly in Australia. So yeah, definitely look into picking up some of that. As you can see as well, I'm certainly not overloading the brush, so just trying to keep the paint so it's not more than approximately about a third of the way up. And next up, now moving on back to the turquoise, I decided to use some Temple Gar Blue. Now originally I was just going to use Turquoise by ACRYL, however I felt it was quite a bit too much of a jump between the dark turquoise to the turquoise. Whereas the Temple Gar Blue I find is a really nice sort of more subtle highlight for the dark turquoise. So you'll certainly still get that pop of colour, but again a little bit more subtle, and we can build that up by adding in some white shortly as well. But as always, just really take your time, really gradually build out those highlights, just ensuring that we leave all of the deeper recesses alone for where the shade was. And although it is time consuming, if you really do want to save time, you could always just dry brush this on. But in my opinion, it's going to look a little bit nicer if you just take your time and gradually work up each hair with the temple guard blue. And then just across the legs as well, just ensuring that we don't overlap any of the magenta on the paw there. Or on the feet, I should say. And then also just doing some fine highlights around the muscles as well. And next up for the pink, I decided, originally I was just going to leave it with Emperor's Children, but I did want it to be a little bit more vibrant. So I'm just going to touch this up with some FULGRIM pink, which is effectively a really bright, sort of hot pink. But again, it's really just going to draw a lot more attention to the detail of the, that deep sort of magenta recesses into the more vibrant sort of pink. So a really nice finishing touch just to add a little bit more flair to it. So next up, I'm just going to use an even mix of Temple Guard Blue and Dead White, so Citadel and VALLEJO. However, any white acrylic, as always, will do just fine. It's really just down to preference. For the most part, I do prefer Pro ACRYL's heavy titanium white and the bold titanium white when I'm using the airbrush. However, a little while ago, I did stock up on, it's fair to say, an excessive amount of the Dead White. I've got about probably 3 or 4 bottles of them, so I figured I may as well use them. They're really good anyway, so it's really just about finding the white acrylic that best suits your needs, really, because sometimes they can be a little bit tricky. The thing, I mean, I'm all for Citadel paints. I predominantly do use Citadel paints overall, but I've never really been a great fan of the white scar. I've just found that every time, it could just be coincidental, but I find that it goes quite clumpy within a short time frame, and there's just better whites out there, to be completely honest, and Dead White and heavy titanium white are 2 really good examples of that. But as you can see as well, just using a touch of white just to bring out some more detail around the face. And also for all of the hair as well, just to mention, I just did highlight those one last time across all of the fur, I should say, using the Temple Guard Blue and Dead White mix. And lastly, for the eyes, I decided to keep them fairly simple and just do a base coat of TROLLSLAYER Orange. And just a final touch of Fire Dragon Bright as well. Now, I did just want to mention, I did actually film the other details of the eyes. Unfortunately, the footage just came out far too blurry. However, the good news is I do have another tutorial on a Fenrisian wolf that I did. It's called Ghostly Fenrisian Wolf. So if you want to check that one out, I was able to get that part of the detail, finishing off with the black and white around the eye. And it did turn out pretty okay for that tutorial. And it was identical to how I finished this particular eye as well, or these eyes for this wolf, I should say. So yeah, be sure to check that one out. And with that, the Majestic Fenrisian wolf is complete. So I really hope that you find this tutorial useful today, guys. And of course, you can paint this onto a multitude of different models. It doesn't have to just be a Fenrisian wolf, but I hope you like this color scheme and use it yourselves. If you would like to support the channel further, if you're in Australia or the UK and are intending on buying any of your hobby needs, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you use the links in the description below, it does support the channel. So as always, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one.